Holy cow! Welcome to Donnie's Hangout Adventures. You know, I don't do many videos anymore. That's on my goal for next year. Yeah, I want to start doing more videos. Maybe by the end of this year, or maybe start into next year doing more videos, especially on Rome. But as you know, 2023, it's been one of those trying years, especially for me and my wife. Even my mom. God, I'm going to get into that too. And my brother. So it's been a very trying year. Now, you know, I did a video last month, the 11th. Dad ended up passing away. Was it sudden? Yes. But when you get time to reflect back on stuff, you know, his health had been declining. It had been really declining, and he died of several stuff. He even had renal failure, and that's pretty bad. So, you know, in reality, he wasn't doing too well. It seemed sudden, but then when you look back, maybe it wasn't. He had lived a pretty long life. He was 83, and we do miss him. But little did we know what was going to follow in the next month. Yeah, little did we know what was going to happen. I don't want to bring too much, you know, personal life into it and all that, but here the house was like a life estate, and anybody could live there as long as his dad was alive. Now, it's a very confusing situation. It's very confusing, and there's a lot of, I don't know, the laws can be a little weird on this, and so the family only wants the house to tear it down for a couple $1,000s. So that means Mom was under a lot of stress, and I've been under a lot of stress. So is my wife, and so is my brother. This is going to get really, really confusing. Well, on the 12th, see, Dad had been gone a whole month on the 11th. On the 12th, with all the stress I have had, it was almost going to happen. It was almost destined to happen. I was feeling pretty good that day. I was feeling pretty good on the 12th of this month. Feeling really, really good. After supper that night, around 5:30, 6 o'clock, I started to feel a little weird. I started to feel really weird. And I started to feel really dizzy. So I somehow got on the bed, and I just laid on the bed, and as I'm in my wife's arm, the type of connection and how close we are. So I'm laying in my wife's arm, and it was one of my strangest seizures. Yep, that's where this is going. It had been 22 years. 22 years. And I had a seizure right in her arms. Before I had the seizure, I was really alert. That's why this was one of the strangest seizures I've ever had. And I forgot that feeling. You know, 22 years. And I told my wife, I says, call 911 and then call Mom. And immediately right after, I had a seizure. I got an ambulance and had one. And then I had two at the hospital. The Toma Hospital can be very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, incompetent. They were very incompetent during it. They didn't really check on me too much. I have a lot of complaints about how the hospital handled said seizure. They closed the door, and I had a seizure while they were doing whatever they were doing in the emergency room. And while they're taking my blood, I'm having a seizure. That don't seem like good protocol. That seems pretty bad protocol to take somebody's blood while they're having a seizure. And I had a doctor who was a quack. Now, I have a family doctor that I've been going to for probably 15, 20 years. I like the doctor. I actually like him. Now, I think this is also bad protocol. I don't think this is exactly what you're supposed to do. You know, he said you should see a neurologist, fine, whatever. But he sent them the ER visit. He faxed those papers to a doctor that had 1 star in West Burlington, Iowa. And he never asked me if I wanted to see that doctor. Never asked me. He even lied to my doctor and said I was changing doctors. Bad protocol in and of itself. They had no right to do this. The only form I signed was the release forms, the release from the hospital. There was no other papers that I signed for him to do what he did. So no question, this doctor was the worst doctor in the world I have ever been to. And that says a whole hell of a lot. And you think that's where this story ends? No, it doesn't. That was on Tuesday. Less than a week later, on Sunday. Remember, my seizure happened on the Tuesday, the 12th. On Sunday morning, I get a call from my brother. And it's just lucky my brother was with Mom when it happened. She had a massive stroke a stroke. You heard that right. She had a massive stroke from dealing from all the stress that she has been under. And it's been tough. I remember seeing her it happened in the morning. The morning it happened, me and my brother went up to Iowa City to see her. A lot of tears have been shed because when my mom's 80, I don't consider her elderly. Actually none of us do. We don't consider her elderly. She's not your typical 80-year-old. She was very outgoing, always on the go. She was going to bingo. She'd go to Walmart. She was always doing stuff around the house. We don't consider her a typical elderly woman. She's very active, very outgoing. And it's hard to see Mom in such a fragile and weakened state like this. And it's even harder when she probably don't even know who we are right now. That's been incredibly tough to deal with these last few days. And we're hoping she can pull through. She's a fighter. She always has been. She always will be. And we know that she's not going to go down without a fight. She's in Iowa City, where she's been for a few days now. And we're just hoping she can pull through this. Because there's still people that really love her very much. And it's been an incredibly trying last month. I've never had a month like this. I've never had a month like this ever. It's been unbelievable. It's been unbelievable that you almost wake up and go, what can go wrong today? The only saving grace in Mom was brother saw her have the stroke. That, they say the first 4 hours is crucial after a stroke. It might be a miracle in and of itself, and very rare at that my brother was right there and saw her have said stroke. And so that might, if she pulls through this, that might have saved her life. Yes, she's in a long, hard battle. And strokes, the older you get, the harder it is for them to recover. But Mom's a fighter, and I'll keep you updated on what's happened. But let me tell you, it's unbelievable what's happened in the last month and a half. Just the last month. It's been hard on everybody. Hard on me, hard on my wife, mostly hard on my brother. It's hard on all of us. But we're trying to stick together, to be a team, to be a unit. Because in times like this, you have to come together. And trust me, it's tough. It's tough when you have situations like this. And when stuff like this happens, nothing really else matters. Nothing really else matters. You know, I don't get that deep on my videos that often. But you know, one thing I've learned, I took for granted that I didn't have a seizure for 22 years. I took for granted my mom and dad were still here. One of them still is, as I talk right now. I took all that for granted. Don't take all that for granted. Because, like that, something can happen. It can be gone in a heartbeat. Never take life for granted. Because life can kick you in the ass. And sometimes, it can give you a wake-up call. You know what? That's all for now.